Good afternoon and welcome to MSTR Mondays, episode actually 19, although it says 18. Forgot to add one. That's how it goes. A little bit under time constraints here as I am after a while in LA. I'm headed to back to Denmark again and uh, gonna spend some time there before coming back to Bitcoin 2025 in Vegas, hosted by Bitcoin Magazine. Hopefully, I expect to have a good time there. Yeah, and I can't believe that on this day where I packed, I checked out of the Airbnb, dropped my car off and all of that. I actually happened to go live at 5 p.m., which was like the original time I wanted to do the weekly MSTR on Monday. So that is my ambition, to do an MSTR Monday on the Mondays. It's a little bit more difficult when I travel, but just doing it one time during the Mondays would be great. And I do want to put them out also during the week whenever there's something I want to share, which there was Saturday just 2 days ago. And it's still called MSTR on Mondays, but I love the irony and the effing about doing a MSTR Mondays on any day but the Monday. I mean, why not? And by the way, the show was launched on a Tuesday. So while everyone else, except a few of us, I guess, are having fun in Orlando with MSTR True North and Strategy World and Sailor and all the good people there having a ball, some of us are not there. And I am here grabbing some food and a little something to stay hydrated. It's called hydrated, before I head to the flight and go to Denmark, where it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to go see family and friends as always. All right, couple of things. Really just want to get a show out and say a few things. It's going to be short because I got to be at the gate in not too long. Should be there 1 hour from now. First of all, so I got myself a pretty back of Metaplanet, MTPLF. Now, when I say a pretty bag, then all of my LBE backs are not very big, but I think it's fun. I love that they outperform Bitcoin. I love that they help speed up hyper-Bitcoinization and the destruction of evil fiat currency on the as part of them succeeding, because they accelerate the purchase of Bitcoin. They're pumping the price of Bitcoin because they're just buying and stacking. I have been watching Climb That Ladder. So you may not be watching it Climb That Ladder, but maybe you are. Otherwise, I'll let you know. Let me find it. So I've been reading his tweets last week and the week before, and initially when Metaplanet came out, running the playbook April 24. We're only 1 year in. It's so early, everyone. They came out. They were in Japan, and who's going to go through that hassle and all of that? But then in November, end of November, they registered the MTPLF ticker in US, so US buyers or investors can now purchase it. But the MNAV of Metaplanet was really high. It was like 8, 9, 10 or whatever. And I'm not saying it won't get there again, but for that reason, I'm like, okay, it's a little rich. I'm not looking. It's not like I have money lying around. I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm, heavily indebted on my credit cards. But when I saw Climb That Ladder, and so shout out to him and the ex community that he created. Let me see if I can show that right. So he did an X community mad about Metaplanet. Let's climb that ladder right there. So I joined that, and what he did, he made me realize that Metaplanet, because the stock has been dropping in value essentially in Q1 at the same time as they have been stacking a lot. The BDC yield of MSTR is, let me check in real quick. BDC yield this year from MSTR is 14%, right? They are already above 100%, I think 120 on Metaplanet. So that's worth taking notice of, the ability to generate a lot of yield, because that, everything else being even, is going to push the price of the stock higher. And if they can keep it up, faster than being in another LBE, leverage Bitcoin equity. So reading those tweets from Climb That Ladder, especially last week, so man, like the MNAV was like at 2.5, something like that. So I was telling one of my friends about it. I think it was Thursday, Luke. If you're watching, actually, he I think he asked me a question before on Signal. He's asking when I'm going live, and I'll just, yep, now we're live. We're live now. Oh, brother, this was good. This is going to be better. I think that those are the rules. To answer your question, if people don't know, Movement Guy asked, "How's the Bloody Mary?" It's when you travel, it's kind of, I guess, it's a thing. My dad taught me. I guess, you watch by learning. You learn by watching. Anyways, so as and Luke, you're there watching now. I can confirm. As I was telling Luke, like, Luke, you gotta get some Metaplans. Like, it's looking good now. The MNAV is down, and the yield they've been generating more than 100% this year. Like, that's a rocket ship you gotta get on. And as I'm telling him, I'm like, man, I gotta get some of that myself, because it's actually looking good. And even though I didn't, because I don't have cash lying around on my bank account or anything, ended up doing some like moving things around, doing some stuff Thursday, and made some money available to buy at the time Thursday evening, where the money was, on the way to the account, my broker account. The price was just below 3. Obviously, short term, this is what happens. So I smash bought on the Friday. Instead of getting the shy of just below $3, it was Thursday. I paid $3.63. So up, what, 20% on the Friday. But I chose to DCA, because DCA is smart, right? Is what people say. So I put in half, or a little bit more than half, Friday, and then disciplined myself and said the rest I'm putting it in Monday. It's so hard for me to DCA. I'm so much a FOMO guy. Like, once I'm convinced of something, it's like all in, all out. This in between and being over time, it's not my personality, which is probably not a good idea or a good thing. But anyways, nevertheless, so today, Monday, I purchased the remaining, and price of Metaplanet had just run further, and today it looks like the only leveraged Bitcoin equity, not only up but up substantially. I obviously bought it near the peak. I got my remaining Metaplanet back, at $4.48, and now it's $4.10. And this is how it is when you're buying like this short term timing. Yeah, you always get rammed. That's why I'm not really a trader. I buy this and then I'm looking at it for the long term. And I think Metaplanet right now is, so obviously the MNAV is not as attractive as it was just Thursday. It's probably gone to um, quick head math, which is a terrible thing to do live on air, but it's like ballpark 4 or something. So it's high, and it's higher than I've seen MSTR while I have owned MSTR. But um, I'm doing my best, Toro. Just doing my best. But it's I think it can go higher, and also watching some of those, reading some of those climb the ladder um, tweets. I think there's a good chance that that they will stack substantial Bitcoin still this year. I think they will have a yield very significantly above MSTR, and that's why there's a premium on the FNAV. And if we're peaking out in this bull run in Q4, maybe October, that would be like the spot on. If you look at the last couple of cycles, December, November, October, then MNAV could be double of what it is now. I have no idea. None of this is financial advice, right? But I feel comfortable having taken a small position now. I think when it comes to Bitcoin, they call people whales if you have like 1,000, right? So if you have 1,000 of something, you're a whale. So in 1,000 Metaplanet is only costing you $4,000. So there it is. If there's not another good reason for buying Metaplanet, which there is, you can be a whale of $4,000. Anyway, so that's my Metaplanet. This is not for day trading. I will, and since I've bought it now, selling it in Q4 when I expect the cyber stop to be, will probably, then it's taxed on income and not long-term capital gain. So I don't know if I'll do that. It depends on the MNAV. Who knows? Maybe the MNAV will go to 8, 9, 10 or something. And then I don't know. Then I might take something aside and keep it as dry powder. We'll see. But overall, I'm very bullish on Metaplanet. I'm very happy that I got a position there. Again, I will add that MSTR is the very rare twice in a lifetime opportunity. I think, not financial advice, of very high return, being very safe at the same time. I really consider MSTR to be a safe and insane positive investment at the same time. When I say twice in a lifetime, it's because Bitcoin would be the other one. But yeah, now there's the other LPEs. So that, I think, yeah, Metaplanet for the win. I think Metaplanet's going to do great. So looking forward to follow that, and especially, exciting to see the quite significant amount of Bitcoins they buy compared to what they have, aka the BTC yield is so high on Metaplanet, and I think that it will continue. So I'm on Team Dylan. And what else does Metaplanet do? They have one hotel. They turned it into a Bitcoin hotel, I believe, in Tokyo. So I think that might be I've never been to Japan. I'd love to go. So I guess that would be a place that would be like to visit one day. Would love to go to Japan. All right, what else? What did I put in the title here on the show, by the way? Because there's a couple of more things I wanted to say. Oh yeah, I remember the other thing. The other thing is I was last week skeptical of Capital 21, not of their future. Very bullish on their future. They're going to kill it. They'll probably be the second largest company in the world ever 20 years from now, after MSTR. But the pricing was just nuts based on people not knowing that CEP, the stock ticker CEP, only became 2.7% of the final um, merge company from the SPAC. So I think people are just buying it way overpriced, to be honest. With an MNAV of 6, I saw Corey tweeted out, in a company that can't do an ATM the first 12 months, where there is some level of uncertainty if they will be able to, do the merge and everything works out. And also, when will they actually be ready to go as Capital 21? I'm not really sure. I don't know if anyone, I mean, obviously someone knows, but if that's 3, 4, 5 months from now, are they even able to generate a BTC yield in the meantime? I mean, Metaplanet could generate 50% BTC yield in that meantime, and you got to take that into account when you're looking at what you're paying. Um, um, so so you know, I am gonna share screen and just take a real quick look at those prices. So let me see if, yeah. So if you look on the right here, then you can see, where do I have it? CEP is down 28% today. So that's why CEP now has, I believe, a MNAV just about above 3. So it's become more reasonable. But again, there are other concerns, I would say, in terms of like when can they actually start building BTC yield, generating that. Maybe they can do something now. Maybe they can do things now until their merge is final and they trade as XXI. I'm not sure. But if you look at Bitcoin is pretty flat. I mean, once you go into LBs, Bitcoin, as I love very dearly, is kind of becomes a bit of a stable coin compared to the leveraged Bitcoin equities, which can give a little bit more of a rush and a laugh. But MSTR down 2% today, while Metaplanet is up 16%. Granted that that Metaplanet being up 16% is after I bought it when it was way higher and it was up like 40% or whatever. Yeah, that was the second thing I wanted to say. CEP is, I would say, more reasonable now and could be interesting. I'm not going to do anything. It's not. I don't have. It's not like, yeah, I don't have any funds to invest, but I would say it's looking more reasonable now. So I got my MSTR, obviously, Metaplanet, and let's see what else happens this year. It's a year of plenty, I think, when it comes to LBs. After Saylor explained and like exactly the playbook and came into a lot more detail and was really like the epic Q3 2024 quarterly earnings call from Strategy. If you haven't seen that, you should look it up on YouTube. It's that's literally one for the history books. All right, so that was my second point, the CEP looking more attractive. Now the third point, and the last and final, unless there's some questions, but let's stay hydrated, right? I can do that. Bear with me. I gotta eat. It's an 11-hour flight. Pardon me, but I'm excited that I actually did an MSTR on Mondays 5 p.m. PST. That is was like supposedly originally the idea, but I refuse to look at this as work, so I won't treat it as such. I'm doing these things because I'm having fun with it and because I think it's important. But yeah, the original flight drink, Bloody Mary. It's the only way to go. Allow me to stay hydrated. So, um, the last point was, um, all right. He made it. He made that one stronger than the first one. There you go. Whew. In terms of the spices, um, the last point. There was three. Oh yeah, strike. I wondered for a long time regarding strike. How does it play out? When I get a lot of chili, I get the hiccups. I'm sorry. This is not. This is not pretty. This is not pretty broadcast broadcasting. Um, but strike. The logistics of strike. First of all, I think strike is really interesting for certain things. Um, it will be interesting, I think, when I expect to take some profits off the table at the end of the year, likely October, for the reason that I didn't do that in 21, and that was painful in the bear market. Um, and if I do that, and I want to put, then I need to put money aside for tax, right? And you can't have money for tax in something super volatile or risky or something, and and that's where strike comes in, because it's a fixed income product that that currently it's a nominal equity of $100, pays $8 dividend, so it's an 8% dividend. But because it trades at 90 and a quarter dollars, the effective yield on strike is 8.9%. So it's a respectable 8.9% return, real yield you're getting on strike. The beautiful thing about it is that it has a built-in call option on MSTR. So 10 strike can convert. You can convert that to one MSTR. No one will ever do that, because the fact that you can do that will push the price up of strike when MSTR. So when MSTR, which right now, I mean, it closed the day at $386.50. When that goes through $910, I was telling some friends from church about it yesterday, and I said, so later this year when it goes through $910, and like, you think that's going to happen this year? Like, yeah. Um, then uh, then strike, because they can convert 10 to 1, will be pushed up ahead of that, and they will never be exactly the same price as 1/10. They'll be a little bit more because they got the 8% nominal yield, so they just continuously will be pushed above. So I think that's really interesting, in a situation of us maybe peaking the bull market in the 4-year cycle, if it is intact, peaks end of the year, and you want to put money aside for tax and living expenses, and put it in strike. Well, the good thing then is that if if there's no bear market, which I did a video, that I rarely recommend my own videos, but if you go back to MSTR Monday 17, it's called "Can Strife End the 4-Year Bitcoin Cycle?" My point with that is that um, Strife, as we saw, as Salem mentioned in Q1 earnings here earlier, well, last week, that was Thursday. Um, Strike and Strife are not rated yet by Moody's and the other rating agencies. Once they are rated, they have properly opened the bag for the $300 trillion global bond market. That can be absolutely insane. I mean, they may just have one of the most interesting products, best fixed income products to a market worth 300 trillion, and the company itself is worth 100 billion. So they can potentially sell a lot of Strife once they get rated and Wall Street starts waking up and understanding um, the 11% real yield that Strife is delivering. That does not have a building call option. But as I line out in that MSTR Monday 17, what to me is really, really, really interesting with Strife is that you now have a product where billions can flow into Bitcoin, not caring about the price of Bitcoin at all. Usually that 4-year cycle, bull market and bear market, is self-reinforcing. Like when things go up, that price draws in more, price going up, number go up, draws in more people because they want to own whatever is going up. Once it starts going down, that's self-enforcing, because when it's going down, people panic. They didn't study what they bought, and now they sell in panic. So those moves over time are very self-enforcing. But Strife might, depending on what rating do they get, how much pickup on Wall Street will there be on Strife, they just might change that for the Bitcoin ecosystem, because every single dollar that has ever gone into Bitcoin has cared about the price of Bitcoin. Every single dollar. Anyone buying Bitcoin or MSTR or something have cared about the price of Bitcoin. But with Strife, you could have $1 trillion flowing into Bitcoin, not caring about the price of Bitcoin at all, which means that when the price drops of Bitcoin, they're not going to stop buying and they're not going to start selling, because Strife has no correlation with the Bitcoin price. There is no upside. There is no upside to convert to MSTR. So none of the upside hits the Strife product. Strife just straight up is a phenomenal fixed income product with a real yield of almost 11%. So if they really pick up that sale on Strife, which I think there's a good chance they will, then I mean, soon likely the ATM will open up. This Strike ATM is open now, and they have sold about $50 million worth of Strike last week that went into Bitcoin. The ATM is not opened up on Strife yet, but giving the amount of time it took for Strike, I would say within a couple of weeks probably. Combine that with a good credit rating from their rating agencies, then there's a $300 trillion market looking at it going, well, this is interesting, and you just need 1% of that. That's 3 trillion, which is more than the market cap of Bitcoin itself. All I'm saying is the potential is there. And why did I mention all that? Because if we have that amount of money start being driven into Bitcoin, not caring, not stopping to buy, they're not going to stop buying Strife when the price of Bitcoin falls. Let's say a regular 4-year cycle kicks in, which means we would have a bear market in 2026. Strife don't care. Bond market don't care. They're just going to buy Strife because they get a super high yield, which will just send billions and billions and billions, maybe hundreds of billions, and then trillions into MSTR coffers, and it's dollar for dollar just going to buying Bitcoin. So that might eliminate a 2026 bear market. That I think is super, super important and interesting. And we need to look at the Strife ATM, the growth in the sales basically of Strife. Because if that is high, we may not see a bear market next year. So that's super, super interesting, obviously. But yeah, so why did I bring that up? The reason I said that is if that makes Strike, not Strife, but Strike, that makes Strike to me an opportune place to put profits that I take off the table so I can live through the bear market to put it in strike. Because if the bear market doesn't come, a call option on MSTR built into to strike, where what 10 strike converts to one MSTR. So let's say there's no bear market next year, and Bitcoin keeps going up and MSTR keeps going up. Well, the money I set aside to pay taxes will be um, in an investment strike that pays 8% nominal yield, and once MSTR is through $900, it's going to go up at the same speed as MSTR. So I think that will be one of the better places to park money set aside for tax and bear market living expenses. Um, I think, yeah. So there, that leaves me with one last thing actually on talking about strike, because if that happens, since this is the way strike functions, once MSTR is through $900, then um, then the market is gonna need another way out of the money fixed income product from MSTR, because when MSTR goes through 900 and it keeps pushing up the price of strike, that real yield will no longer be, as I said, it is right now 8.9%. As the price of MSTR goes up, the price of strike goes up, and that real yield will go from 8.9 to 8, 7, 6, 5. It's going to end up being like less than 1% when MSTR really moves. So the market there's going to be a hole in the market, a hole that strike right now fills, which is, hey, I can get 8.9% yield and I got a building call option. It's going to end up having very little real yield, and will have it's no longer an out of the money call option. It's just moving up, same as MSTR. So question is, will that make MSTR somehow pay them all off? Is that possible somehow, and close it down? Or are they going to create a new equity, which is significantly out of the money? I mean, in this case, MSTR has to more than double for the building call option to be triggered. Or I mean, yeah, the market is going to need that, and I will need that for purposes of, hey, I can get 9% yield to starve away money printing, not be too hurt by that as I'm looking to pay taxes and live from the money. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that is it. Which means I should finish up here as well. I'm glad I put out an episode shorter, but that, just like Saturday, it forces me to say everything I wanted in shorter time, which means there's less time wasted listening to me babbling and like keep tracking it out. So yeah, I guess I'll shut it down here. Price of Bitcoin is 94,500, and go to my gate. And but any questions in the chat, you can chat on X as well as you can on YouTube. Sunday I'll be doing another episode of Two Christians Walk Into a Bar. I am going to talk about Mark of the Beast. Mark of the Beast. It's in Revelations. It's really interesting. I have a question there. I have a question for Christians. And I should finish up this chicken. All right. Thank you so much for commenting in the chat and watching. Hope everyone has a great Monday and a great week. I'm gonna head to Denmark, hang out with family and friends, and have a good time doing it. So yeah, I hope everyone's good. Have a great week, great Monday evening, and I will hope to get another MSTR Monday out next Monday. Thank you for watching. I think this is the shortest I've ever done under price, not price, under time constraints here, having to run to the gate. See you guys. Have a good one. Cheers.